Everyday life. Most people lived outside the headlines. They were farmers, bakers, potters, and traders. Dawn meant work in the fields or the bakery. Food was simple: bread, porridge, olives, sometimes fish or stewed vegetables. Clothes were practical: linen and wool, wrapped or stitched, depending on your region. Cities looked different from one place to the next. Rome was massive: stone buildings, markets, public baths, constant noise. Alexandria hummed with ships and scholars. Small towns had one market square and a noisy morning. In every market you'd see the same thing: sellers calling out, coins changing hands, strangers passing on the road. Social status was visible. Wealth bought marble houses and servants. Poverty meant a single room and shared cooking. Slavery was a normal part of the economy. Not invisible, not always cruel, but everywhere. Families were the basic unit, and honor mattered. Life was often short by modern standards, but it was full of routines that gave people a sense of order. Empires and power. This century saw the Roman Empire at its height under emperors like Augustus in between 27 BC and 14 AD. The empire spread across Europe, North Africa, and much of the Middle East. Roads were its veins. Soldiers kept the borders. Roman law and administration tied together very different peoples into one system. For many, Roman rule meant stability, safer trade, fixed laws, and taxes that paid for public works like aqueducts and baths. Far to the east, China under the Han dynasty was powerful in its own way. The Han sent silk and ideas along new trade routes. In between, kingdoms rose and fell. Trade bridged distances more than armies did. Empires looked different, but they all shared one feature: power concentrated in cities, with empires shaping what people ate, where they could travel, and how they paid their taxes. Religion and belief. This century was quietly religious, and soon enough, it would be revolutionary. Traditional polytheism dominated: gods for war, harvest, and the household. Temples, rituals, and festivals structured the calendar. A new voice began in the small Roman province of Judea. The life and crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth around 30 to 33 AD, and the rise of Christianity through apostles like Paul, would go on to change the beliefs of billions. Meanwhile, Roman religion and emperor worship remained dominant across the empire. Elsewhere, religious life continued to reshape itself. Buddhism, Hindu practices, and local cults moved across Asia. People combined old rituals with new ideas, and belief became a powerful force for identity and political loyalty. Conflict and war. The first century was not quiet. There were campaigns and uprisings. Rome faced disturbances on its frontiers and rebellions inside its provinces. In Judea, tensions rose between local leaders and Roman governors, leading to the First Jewish-Roman War. Then to the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 AD under Titus, a defining moment in Jewish history. On other borders, Rome tussled with Parthia in the east. And in the north, there were runs of trouble with tribes across the Rhine and Danube, such as the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, present-day Germany, in 9 AD, where Rome suffered a shocking defeat. Germanic tribes ambushed 3 Roman legions, wiping out thousands of soldiers. The loss stopped Rome from expanding further, fixing the Rhine River as its northern border, a turning point in Europe's map. These conflicts shaped policy: which roads to build, which forts to hold, which cities to favor. At the same time, technology of war was improving slowly. Better siege engines, more organized logistics, and an empire-wide network that could move troops and supplies faster than before. War remained brutal, but it was also the engine that shaped borders and populations. Science, technology, and culture. This was a century of building. Roman engineers perfected concrete and arches. Aqueducts carried water across miles. Roads allowed people, armies, and ideas to travel. Writers and scholars compiled knowledge: natural history, law, poetry. Pliny and others recorded strange facts and local curiosities. Some turned out true, some exaggerated, but all useful for later readers. In China, crafts and craftspeople refined silk production and other technologies that would cross long distances. The idea of recording events, of writing histories, grew stronger. Public entertainment was massive and immediate. Gladiator games, chariot races, and public theater pulled huge crowds. These spectacles were social glue, but also a political tool. Art and literature kept changing the way people thought about themselves. Poets wrote about love and exile. Philosophers debated how to live a good life. For example, the New Testament was being formed in Judea, texts that would reshape global religion forever. Trade and economy. Money mattered more than before. Coinage circulated across borders. Markets in distant provinces accepted the same currency. Traders moved goods, grain from Egypt, olive oil from the Mediterranean, silk from the East. Long-distance trade was risky but profitable. Merchants used networks of contacts, local agents, and caravan routes to move goods across deserts and seas. I put a lot of time and effort into making these videos, so if you are enjoying this one, please support with a quick like. Inventions and discoveries. The first century wasn't only about emperors and wars. It was also a time of lasting innovation. Across the empire, the Romans expanded their network of stone roads, linking faraway provinces to Rome itself. Merchants, soldiers, and messengers could now travel faster than ever. They also perfected their aqueducts, carrying fresh water into cities and fueling fountains, baths, and even private homes. In the Middle East, glassblowing spread rapidly, turning glass from a luxury into something ordinary families could use every day. And in China, two breakthroughs quietly reshaped history. The invention of paper around 105 AD, making writing and record-keeping cheaper and easier, and Zhang Heng's early seismoscope in 132 AD, which could detect distant earthquakes. Bonus: a world growing connected. Before we wrap up, one important thing: connections. This century saw the early rise of truly long-distance networks. Think of a single caravan crossing a desert. It could carry spices, ideas, and stories. That caravan mattered. It made local events globally meaningful. In this century, people began living in a world where a merchant's decision in one province could change someone's life far away. Closing reflection. The first century was not a finished period or a tidy box in history. It was messy and full of sudden change. Empires grew, cities thrummed, religions sparked, and trade quietly knitted distant places together. The century teaches one quiet lesson: transformations don't always arrive with fanfare. Often they begin in small daily choices: a road built, a trade deal struck, a letter carried across the sea. This collection of simple acts that, added together, changed everything. Subscribing takes 1 second. Researching and drawing this took way longer. Huge thanks for watching, and don't miss the next century.